So that's the one you'll want to use today. You'll want to download it to your computer and call it 3. So put celebrity souvenirs, your last name, first name, and then 3. And let's see here. Somebody asking me a question. Yeah, I thought I had somebody had a question there for me. All right, let me go here. Okie dokie. And as I mentioned, there's that celebrity. If you're looking at the file there and you're seeing the screen, which of course you'll need to log into the machine, then do VMware, then come over to Canvas, and then in Canvas go in the announcements, find the invitation to today's meeting, and you're there and good to go. But looking in Canvas, you've got that. Yes, what can I do for you?
I have some papers and some documentation. My I-4, yeah, and my passport.
Okay, and you're wanting to show them to me?
No, I won't.
Oh, you're trying to get them. Oh, okay, got you covered, Okay, fine. All right. Okay. Anyway, you're going to see that celebrity souvenir shop, and you'll want to download it and give it your first and last name, and then it's going to be hands-on 3. Okay. Now I already have it on my desktop, so I'm just going to rename my file. In fact, I'm just going to copy it and then rename it. And I'll rename it. It would be Celebrity Souvenir. That's me, Harmon Keith, hands-on 3. I'm going to rename it hands-on 3 because that's what we're working with today. Follow me? So we're using the same file. We're using the file we worked on Tuesday, and we did, and I just uploaded it back into Canvas. Yes.
I can't do Excel, so on my computer.
You need to go. Are you logged into VMware?
Yeah, I'm on the I'm on the computer desktop. Right? So I've already logged into VMware.
Okay. It won't open, or is it just slow
No, I
open?
download the file. I'm going to go to open the file. It says it can't open it for some reason. Please close the application. I've done it like twice now. It gives the same thing.
Has anybody else encountered that issue? Try this. Try downloading it and give it a different into your desktop and give it a different file and give it a different name.
Okay.
See if that'll do it. Are you using Chrome?
Yeah, I'm downloading it from Chrome.
Okay. So we'll be working on this file. We're going to rename the file that was Celebrity Hands-On 2. That we're going to rename it Celebrity Hands-On 3. Obviously, because we're working on this Excel Hands-On 3. Did that do it for you? Okay. Now, some of this stuff we've done, some of it we haven't. As I said before, you've got a couple of backups. You really have 3 of them, and we'll talk about that. 2 backups that are pretty obvious. Number 1, you have the hands-on exercise where they take you step by step by step by step. Then you also have the screencast. Once we've had class, I take it up and process it, and then upload it at YouTube, and then give you a link to go look at it. The third you will do is you can take what I've uploaded and any file, and we're going to talk about how I can kind of re-engineer or figure out what someone's done with something. So spend a little bit of time doing that. That do it? Well, you could do that. The other you might want to do would be to download it, but put it in a folder, and that would be to, when you download it, and that will give you show in folder.
Right, that's why I did this last time, and I brought up the download folder and I moved it onto my desktop.
Okay. Okay, let me see if I can duplicate what you're experiencing. Hands on two. Okay. And then I'm going to open it up. Okay. And I got it to open.
Yeah, I'll probably take it here in a second, because like I said, I tried to.
Okay. Yeah.
So I downloaded it, I found this folder, I renamed it. Try it open it, and try it for a second. Close that out.
Click on
I have already renamed it when I downloaded it.
and then try out the thing. And that doesn't work properly in Excel. Okay. Let me walk you through the sequence again. We do it each time, and I've done all the apologetics on what I'm dealing with that I can do. First of all, and I'll put myself on computer. We'll log into the machine if you have it already. It's OBU LAB. OBU is all caps, LAB lowercase, and then OBU lab and 1, 2, 3, and then the exclamation point. Up. So now I'm logged into the machine. Once I'm logged into the lab machine, all right, then I'm going to click on VMware and open it. And it's going to ask me for a password again. And I use the same password I did before. I'll click OK. I'll click Login. And then I want to launch the VMware. Everybody gone through this sequence at this point? Yes? No? So what we're doing is you're logging into your lab machine, then you log into VMware, then you can go ahead and use the Google Chrome to go into Canvas. And once you're in Canvas, find the invitation, click on it, and join the meeting. How many of you can see Cardinal Buddy cavorting out in the Grand Tetons? Hands, yes. If you are good, you can see what's going on. So this is you'll go through some of this stuff, preparing windows, and all this business. And I've explained ad infinitum why I'm dealing with what I'm dealing. I don't run the train. And at this point, when you see the windows, you're at Nirvana, and you can work with Excel. Did you get your file opened up? Yeah, if you get this worthless thing to log in for the print, just exit out, and you're good to go. Now you have the productivity suite. Now, if you haven't logged into Canvas, obviously you can come over and use Google, log into Canvas, and then click on the invitation that's in the announcements and join the meeting. We've adopted some new security measures here. Our old security measure was if it doesn't work, it can't be hacked. Now it's a marathon, and you run all 26 miles before you gasp and die. All righty, and let's see, we're here. Okay. All right, so you should have Celebrity Souvenir Shop. Now, I had downloaded it to my machine, and it was Celebrity Souvenir Shop 2, and then I renamed it Celebrity Souvenir Shop. Yeah, I put my first and last name, whatever you want. And yeah, last name, first name, and then hands-on 3, because that's what we're working on. So we'll open this jewel up. Okay, and here we are. Here is our Celebrity Musicians Souvenir Shop, the spreadsheet. We've been working on doing some different things with it. And where I had stopped with this, we were using some conditional formatting to try to get a picture of how these data are aligned, i.e., which product offers us the highest, putting these profit margins into a relative order. Excuse me. Now, I want to talk spend a little bit of time on reverse engineering, and then we'll start to work a little bit with page 343 in the POTSI book. When I talk about reverse engineering, here's what I mean. Excel is probably the best of all the spreadsheet products in terms of giving you feedback or a means to understand what you have done. It uses a tab, what we call a tab tree layout. You choose a tab for a major set of functions or features, and then you choose a particular one, and then you'll get a tree effect, or you click on it and you'll get some more choices. You may even get sub choices off of that. You say, okay, well, I'm going to click first of all here in cell A4, and how is it that I know that I've got blue fill in bold using Calibri font 11 size 11? How do I know that? Okay, it says that in the very top up in the ribbon. You say, what's the point? The point is this. If you get a spreadsheet for someone, for example, that's very, very well done, one of the ways to kind of figure out what they did is just simply to walk backwards. And the product is designed to give you that as a type of documentation, a visual documentation that you can understand. Rather than giving you a list of everything that was done, what you've got here are a series of icons, okay? And the bold is hot. It tells me it's a Calibri. It shows me that it's an 11. It will even tell me where I am in the spreadsheet. How do I know where I'm at in the spreadsheet? Is there something that tells me? Okay, the far left side box, exactly. And if you look right here, you'll see it's at A4. What's the point? Well, the people who design this know that at some point you're going to be working at cell D715 or something like that, and you'll want to go, where am I? Well, you'll be able to look up in that box in that far left corner and you'll be able to see. Okay? With me so far? Now, let's look at this title on this thing. Click on row 1. Now, how do I know that this is Calibri 14 and a set in a group of columns, pardon me, all of the a series of cells on a row that are crammed together, i.e. wrapped text wrapped? How do I know that? Or they're merged and centered? How do I know? Okay, I look on the tab for home. I take a look, I see Calibri 14. I see it's there in merge and center. Now, again, I can tell what's happened here or what they've done by doing this backward or reverse engineering to see. And the machine, as I said, this application is designed to show you how what's been done. It provides you a source of documentation. Is there any way for me to know how the formulas in here have been set up? There are 2 ways. How are they? What's the first way I know how I got a result that's in a particular cell? Okay, I can double click it, or I could just single click it, and I see 15%. Let's find something that's got a cell. I've got cell J5, and I see a formula there, don't I? Notice that every time I use a formula in here, I put equal, and then it follows the order of operations. We talked about that. And here what we're doing is we're dividing I5 by H5. Now, if I don't want to mess around with continually having to deal with cell references, but instead I want to name things, I want to work with variables or with words that a human understands, where do I go to do that? What do I click? Huh? Okay, how do I get to the name manager? Okay, I'm going to click formulas. Okay, and then I come to name manager. Now the name manager basically lists every cell or array, that is multiple cells, that I've defined as something. I've given it a name, and I can do it in there. Or if I want, I can use the define name. And then if I want to use that in a formula, it's simple. I click use a formula. So while it would be tedious to work through all of these variables and take some time, when it comes to computation time, that's a whole lot different. Because when I look at this, IH divided by I5 divided by H5, it's okay. Now, I can also click on in the cell, in the formula bar, and it will show me. It'll show me the 2 different cells. One's, and it'll go blue and red, and then I think it adds green, and I don't know where it does in the color spectrum from that. But I'm looking at that, and I'm not really following on what. Now, okay, that's great. But if I using a formula and I had named that, and I had named that cell, if I had named H5 as hat sale price, and I had named I5 as hat profit amount, then it makes sense. Okay? So in terms of constructing this thing, you'd want to go through and use the name manager and name each of those. And so you're going to be talking about some work. But if you're going to be using this over and over and over, it's probably not a bad idea, especially when you talk about result cells. Now, there's a third way I can see the formulas that I used. And what is that? Anybody tell me? There's a third way to see the formulas that I've used. For everything. What would I look at? Okay, we could click view. And then what? Use a good choice. Have we got anything that'll get us there? Let's try review and let's see what's there. Is there anything there that will help us? No, so far, no good. Let's click on formulas and see if there's anything there. Is there anything when I click on the formulas tab, is there a function within that that will help me see the formulas? Huh? Trace precedence is one of them, but there's one that's even better than that. I just want to see the formulas. Okay, evaluate formulas, but that's, I'm going to assess the formulas to see for consistency. Well, I just want to see the formulas. Oh yeah, okay. Now, there's one very important thing that we all could use if you get stuck. And let me tell you this, I've been using Excel since it was invented, and I will get stuck with stuff like, where is this or that? And I've learned very well, I've learned to do what? Go for help. You see the little light bulb? That's the most valuable tool you have in Excel. Because if you forget how to do something, or you forget a process, or you forget what a particular feature is, you can click in there and you can find the assistance that you want. It will give you some tips, it'll give you some help. Okay? So if I wanted to see the formulas here, I've clicked on formulas, and I'll click show formulas, and there it is. Now the reason I would want to look at the show formulas is to see if I have some consistency in what I've done. When I build a spreadsheet, there ought to be some consistency. Let's start moving from left to right, okay? Now this is some stuff the authors don't cover here in the textbook, or they allude to it because I guess they maybe think you're a bunch of monkeys or chimps that you can just, you're programmed to key in stuff and you do it. I don't think they push much in understanding, but procedurally they walk you through the paces. But let's look at this for a moment. I see a product, and so I don't see any formulas in the products. I see the hat, hoodie, etc., right? I see the codes for those product codes. Those are identifiers of some type. All right. And then I see the cost. The way these are set up, and I'm looking at column C, the cost of $7.85, $27.75, etc. These are handled as if they are constants. Okay? They're values that can be changed, but for all intents and purposes, the model here is I have a constant price. And then I have a markup rate. Is there a formula for markup rate? No, I've just got it hard coded in. Watch what I've done is I've designed this. I started with identified the thing using a name that a human understands. Then I've given it a code of some type. And that's because this is probably off in a data table somewhere that will go hunt for this product code. That's how I order them. And then I've got a cost, and then I've got the markup rate. So right now I have two pieces of data that I can manipulate, and that's going to be the cost and the markup rate. And then we move on over and we see in column E, we see the markup amount. The rate's the percentage, right? If I'm looking at 1.095, what percentage is that? Express it to me in percentage terms. 1.095 is what? How much percent? .095 is, how would I express that as a percent? 1.095 is 109.5%, correct, exactly. But instead of confusing myself and others, I've just simply used these simple numbers, then a person could look and go, yeah, 1.2, that's 120%. 2 is 200%, that's 100. But I just say 1.01 because I'm treating it more like a ratio, the markup rate, than I am like a percent. And notice I use the words rate, not percent. But let's look at the markup amount. Now that becomes a real number. It becomes a real number for a simple reason. I take C5 times Z5. Now I've added in some dollar signs there. Why did I put in the dollar signs? What's the point? Okay, so I can drag and drop vertically, exactly. The dollar sign says stick in the column. So if I do a drag and drop, the formulas will just simply, the row will change, the column will stay the same. If I reverse that and I put the dollar sign in front of the D and the C, pardon me, in front of the 5, then the columns, then I'll stay in the row, but the columns will change. You got me? I know I'm harping on this a lot, but let me tell you, when you start working with a lot of spreadsheets, and some of you who are accounting and finance majors will be doing this, you'll be thankful for the drag and drop, because otherwise you get to sit and input all the formulas, which you don't want to do. Yeah? Or you could sit and you could write. And you know what's really sad is I come in the lab and I see somebody from one of the other colleges where they're not learning this, and I see them inputting formula in cell, they'll be putting 7.85 times 1.5, 27 times 1.2. And I just think this is sad. Sad, sad, sad. You, however, will just simply do a drag and drop. Here's a tip. If for some reason you decide to become a serial killer, drag and drop is not a good idea, because if you do drag and drop, at some point your DNA is going to get mixed in there and they're going to catch you. Mass burials usually don't work either. The neighbors will notice. It's just a tip in case you decide to pursue a life of crime. All right, now we have over in column F, we have another formula, and we're computing the retail price. Now, what formula am I using there? I'm using the sum, and what am I and what do I have inside the parentheses? Okay, I have the dollar sign, so I'm identifying the column, staying in the columns. Why do I have a comma there instead of a plus sign? Okay, because if I want to do multiple addition, I can, and plus, I've already put in sum, so if I have to put in equal sum C5 plus E5, I may either be dealing with a moron. I'm a proud one. I told you that. Lived in Moore. Now I'm in Oklahoma City, but the council there in Moore named me an honorary moron. A moron for life. Proud of it. So if you see someone who puts equal sum and then C5 plus D5, they're kind of, well, beating it up a little bit. The comma just says add these two figures together. Now, we're over in column G, and what are we looking at there? We've got percent off. And again, we express them as numbers with a decimal sign instead of a percentage sign, so we can see it's 0.15. You're gonna run into a thing called scientific notation. What's that all about? Anybody know? Scientific notation. Scientific notation is a way that if I have a whole bunch of decimals past, if I have a whole bunch of figures past, or digits past the decimal point, I can just express it as like 1 plus E8 or E6 or whatever. Got any science majors in here? Okay, probably won't run into stuff. Most of the stuff you and I will be working with will be 5 decimals. That'll be just about it, thankfully. Okay, so we got the sell price, and then we come to this thing called the profit margin. And that's kind of a different critter than what we've been working with. The profit margin is I5, and that is the profit amount divided by the sales price. What's the point of the profit margin? Why do I care? Why do I care? I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes? I've got some answers. Okay, can make some decisions about that item. The profit margin is what? What's the expression there? Let's take a look at it. I5 is the profit amount. H5 is what? The price. So it gives me the margin I get for each item I sell. In other words, the percent or the amount that I'm making over and above the sales price, or in addition to the costs. It's a ratio. And did you guys, when you were in the high school, junior high, did you learn about the levels of measurement? That sound familiar? Okay, let's walk through those. You'll encounter it in stat for sure, I know, if you don't now. A ratio data are data that have an absolute zero. For example, there is a true absolute zero in terms of the absence of warmth. That's cold. I think it's minus 32 or 300 degrees or something. I used to know the figure. But a ratio is a pure piece of data. Then we have a thing called an ordinal. That is, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, I hate Dr. Harmon, 5 or 1. Or on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, I like Dr. Harmon. That's called ordinal data, greater than or lesser than. Now, when you see that kind of stuff on surveys, it's meaningless, it's useless because it's semantics. It doesn't mean anything, okay? Then you have a thing called interval data. And interval data are data that are infinitely divisible, like 10, 5, 2.5, 1.25, on and on. Then we have what we call categorical or nominal data. It's stuff I can count. The car is red. Red has no numeric property. We use ratios because ratios are the purest forms of numbers. And so when we do the profit margin, we're able to compare profit margins because ratios kind of scrub data. They give us true numbers. So we've got the profit margin there. We can see what it is. So we've done a little bit of work here so far, and we've used the formula. We've used the show formulas so I can see how this was put together, and I could see what are the variables that we're caring about and manipulating, and how are we manipulating them. Let's unclick show formula so we can see this, and we'll do some more work. Now, over on page 343, okay, they ask us to open the file up, etc. And they say click any cell in column 1, that's part B, and then they're going to have us insert a column. Let's do it one more time, and I want to put a column here between D and E, so I'll click on D, and then I'm going to click insert, and I'm going to find, where do I find insert a column? On the home. And where's that at? What tab is it on? Okay, I'll go over to cells, and I'm going to see the cells column, and I'm going to insert a column. Now notice Excel reordered everything, Your formulas are still good, etc. If you do that and you say, oh, I wish I hadn't done that, how do you back out of it? Huh? Delete, or what else could I do? There's something up in the far left corner that I can do. Undo it, exactly. Sometimes undo is the safest bet. Because if you try to delete or something like that, you may go, oh, I wish I had done that. That was not good. And then you mess things up badly. So undo is always going to be your best friend. If you say, well, no, I liked it, you can redo it. Here's a dating tip. Saturday night comes, you don't have a date, what can you do? You can open up Excel and you can do it and undo it, do it and undo it, tick, 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 tick. Do it and undo it. Just trying to help you out here. Is there anyone in this room who has planned this Saturday night, say from about 6 to 10, to really work on some of the advanced features in Excel? Anyone? If you are, please come see me. I'm going to send you to student services. You need help. All righty. You say, you don't live this? All right. On Saturday night by 7 o'clock, I'm out and I'm zoned out. Old people go to bed. We go to bed late and get up early, and we play the TV really loud. I'm not much of a people person. Have you guessed that? And so to kind of keep the neighbors at bay, I'll have the lawn mowed and all that. I haven't put up a thing that says danger or anything like that. But what I like to do is turn the TV up really loud, the noise of my wife, because people go, oh, there's really old people in there. Stay away from them. There's about in the neighborhood, there's a bunch of young people. And with kids and all that stuff. Huh? Well, on Halloween, I have a friend that works at the Health Science Center there in OU, and I can usually get a real severed hand I can put out front. That's a lie. That's not true. That's just a story. We give out candy at Halloween. See, in my day, you could go and people make food, and they would put razor blades in it or poison or stuff like that. So, and we'd go all over Oklahoma City. Our parents would pile us in the back of the car, and we'd be going till 11:30. I'd come home with 8 or 9 sacks of candy and cake. You wouldn't believe the stuff. Now it's all this pre-wrapped, and Mama's got the flashlight, Dad's got a gun. Then they have a beeper tracking on you. I'm sorry you live in that kind of world. It's rough. I grew up in a place you didn't have to have fences. Parents didn't have to worry about, you disappearing. Now, my parents, they did worry about me disappearing. There was an ongoing hope on that, but that's another story. I'm not bitter. Okay. Yeah. So we've inserted a column and then inserted out. We can do the same thing with a row. We'll do the insert. Boom. And then we'll come over here and we're going to go home, and then we'll click insert. And if I want, I can insert a row, or I can delete a row, or I can insert a spreadsheet, a sheet if I want to. Okay. Now we did some work over here the other day, and I want you to look at this. Click on sheet number 1. And you remember we did the pivot table? You see that? Okay. Let's rename that. And so click rename, and I'm going to call it pivot table. Isn't that original? And I have to put the words all together. It'll go crazy on me. So I'm going to put pivot table. Okay. Now I might also have another sheet where I put some charts. You say, why would you do that? Well, for a simple reason. I want people to be able to see the data and manipulate the data if they choose to. Okay. If not, I'm going to put some of that visualization and some of those analytic tools, more advanced things, into some additional spreadsheets. So there's the pivot table. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, let's go ahead and see what other revelations. Well, we've done the profit amounts and all that stuff. At the top of page 344, they show you about inserting and deleting rows. Okay. Kind of exciting. I don't know about you, but I'm on pins and needles over here. And we've reworked everything so that we have everything looking like what shows up over there in figure I-40, I.40 over page 345. And we've done the borders. Let's talk about that for a minute. I have some consistent borders. At the top, I identify the variable or the figure that's in that column. Then I have a border below that kind of just squares it off. I have my input items, cost and markup rate, and then some output items like the markup amount, the retail price, or a % off, and the sale price, and the profit amount, and the profit margin. And then I went a little bit further, and I usually want to have what I think is the most important piece of information on the far right or at the bottom, for the simple reason that our eyes in this culture are trained to go left or right, and usually the most important thing will be on the right or the bottom. The total, for example. Got it? Simple stuff. The authors, I don't think, cover it or even talk about it, but it's stuff you kind of learn over the years doing this kind of bizwax with folks. Now let's look over here and we'll see we don't have any macros. We've got some profit margin stats. We've got the average profit margin. We've got the standard deviation. Now let's talk about this for a minute. The standard deviation tells me how much something varies from the mean. So I'm going to use a cell reference. I'm going to come down here to K13, and I'm going to put equal, and I'm going to put in the average. I'm going to put equal M5, and I get 46.8. Which is easier, putting in equal and then click on M5, or putting in equal 46.8%? You tell me. I like just clicking the cell. So I put equal and then I clicked M5. And then it displays as 46.8. Now, one standard deviation would be +1 times M6. So we're going to equal, so we're going to do this. I'm going to put equal M6 times 1. Okay? And then I'm going to come over to cell J13, and I'm going to put equal M6, pardon me, equal M6 minus times -1. You said, what did we do here? Well, we just said, okay, we have now a standard deviation, one standard deviation above, and one standard deviation below. So now that's a simple process I can put, and I want to put, and over here, look at column M14 and put SD +1. Now I'll show you how to do something here without having to worrying about putting in a formula. Put in a single quote and then put SD. And then that would be +1. See how it treats it as text? You see where I put the little single quote? It says I'm putting in text here, so I don't have to worry about accidentally triggering a formula. So standard deviation +1, this is going to equal K13 plus K14. I mean L13, excuse me. And I get 65.1. Now I'm going to come right below that there on M15, and I'm going to put single quote SD -1. Okay. And here I'm going to put equal K13, and I can even make it easy on myself, minus L13. If I had put K13 minus J13, I would have added. 6 minus minus 2 is what? The two minus signs become a what? Positive number. So I don't want to do that. So I've got now let's look at this for a moment. One standard deviation above is 65.1. One standard deviation below is 28.4. If I ran 1,000 of these, and if I had 1,000 products or 10,000 products, or how many ever I might have, and these profit margins are what I would think would fit within a normal range of values, 68% of them ought to be between $65, 65%, or 28%. Does that make sense? So the standard deviation lets me see the mean. Now, I'll visualize it for you here. I would hope that you've worked with standard deviation, but at this point, maybe you haven't. I don't know. Do we have any math teachers left in Oklahoma? The high school? And are there any? Or have they all gone to somewhere else that will pay them? I don't know. All righty. Now, that's not that nicely done a curve, but we look at that line there would represent the standard deviation. That would be the mean. And then we have the standard deviation, or the mean of the average would be here in the middle. And then one standard deviation above, one standard deviation below. We're looking for variability. Okay. I wanted to see how much the profit margins tend to vary or change. And we talked about how would I make some choices with these in terms of which ones would I push, would I reduce the prices on, etc. If you look at this table, you're going to see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 products. Okay. I have 6 costs, 6 markup rates, 6 markup amounts, 6 retail prices, 6 percentages off, 6 sales prices, 6 profit amounts, and 6 different profit margins. I've got a lot of combinations I could work with. Now, if I want to hide a column, I'm ashamed of it. How do I hide a column? Somebody tell me how to do that? Where would I go if I'm not sure and I'm stumped? Well, I come right up here to the little light bulb and I write hide column. I want to show me how to hide a column. Do that for me? Oh, it's not. Well, that's great. But let's do that anyway. I messed around with that a little bit. Now, click on column B, and then see the choices you have on the little tree there. Right click it and you'll hide it. Then when you want to unhide it, why would I hide the column? Okay, make it easier to view. Exactly. If I think that column B is extraneous data, which it is, it's a product code that's not that important. I can identify what I know what a hat is, a hoodie, a mug, a souvenir program, blah, blah, blah. So if I don't care about the product code, I just hide it. Can I hide rows? Well, let's click on a row and see if I can. I'm going to click on there, right click it. And let's see, I've got the row height. And I can hide the row, and I do. These are features just for our visual acuity, meaning what I see in terms of what's presented there in the usable space. Now, if I want to increase some of the usable space in here, take your cursor right here and put it right above a column, and you should see a little white arrow. And see, I can narrow that. I can narrow the formula bar up or bring it down. Got it? So that's up to me. If I want to, I can pin or show or not show the ribbon. Right? And I've still got everything there. Click home and I'm good to go. They show you this. They talk about adjusting these. They also talk about selecting and moving a range of data. Let's do that. Put your cursor on G5. Okay. Pardon me. Put your cursor on G4 and highlight the array G4 to G10. And then click copy. You see when you're going to copy something, you see the little green bars going around. And then come down to cell C17 and click on paste, but click paste special. And you'll see the options that you have for pasting those data. You can paste them with the formulas, you can paste them with their formatting, or you can just paste them just as raw data. Got it? It just depends on what you want to do with them. I'm going to choose, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to choose just to put them in without the formatting. I'm not going to, I'm just going to paste the values. And there they are. There's the header. And there may be some particular reason for me to want to do this. Just depends. Now. Let's do so. We'll look at this a little bit later, but let's do something a little bit advanced so we've gotten this far. Okay, now I want to click data, click on the data tab, all right, and come over to where it says forecast and click what if analysis. And then you'll see a thing called goal seek. You see goal seek? We may have talked about this before, but it's a nice little creature to work with. Click on goal seek. And let's say that I want to put the profit margin. So I'm going to click set cell, and that would be the profit margin, which is there in J5. And I want the profit margin to the value, and now I have a target value for my profit margin of 50%. And I want to reach that by changing the markup rate. So I went over to the formulas bar, I clicked on scenario, on what if analysis, and I clicked the goal seek. The first thing I did was I clicked on the cell I want to change. The next thing that I do is I tell the function what value I want there, and I want 0.50. And then now comes the good part. Okay, what will you change to reach that goal? And in this case, I'm going to change D5, which is the markup rate. So I want to see if I want to make a 50% profit margin on hats, what markup rate do I need to achieve that goal? With me? So I'm going to click OK. and it's going to do its magic. And it says if I want to get to a 50% market on that, 50% profit margin enhance, boom. The markup rate is 1.35. Now, this is a tool, and I might have talked about it some before, but this is an excellent tool to use, especially if you're doing this on the fly, like we are right now. We're having a meeting. If you can take a spreadsheet out, pull it out, and start to do some manipulations with the numbers, you may be able to brainstorm your way to a better solution than maybe what you presented here or what you were given as a starting point. If you're going to do a whole lot of this, okay, let me recommend that you do something else. I'm going to click, okay. Now, if you're going to do a whole lot of scenario and forecasting and things of that nature, then on the data, click on the data tab there and we're going to rename it, okay? And I'm going to rename it original data, okay? Okay. Now I'm gonna click on sheet 1, and then I'm gonna go back to original data, and I'm gonna click, and it says move or copy, and I'm gonna click copy, create a copy, and it's gonna give me a sheet called original data 2. You see it? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rename that, and I'm just gonna call it scenarios. So I know what my original starting point was, and now I know some scenarios that I can work with. So Dr. Harmon, you're telling me if I wanted to, I could create a matrix below this data set that shows me goals, say for profit margin, profit amount, etc., by changing any one or all of these variables, so I could have a matrix there that we could see what would be the possible outcomes if we make certain choices. Yeah. Okay. You'll hear me talk about this several times unless you get smart and get rid of me. Here are you. Here's what you get paid to do, my friends. We have known and unknown states of nature. I was listening to the radio on the way in, and I listened to one of our policymakers, elected official, dealing with the state of nature where it's unknown. And that is, what do the Iranians really want? Do they want to build a bomb? Or do they want us to ease off their sanctions and join the rest of the world and get prosperous? What do they really want? They're dealing with an unknown. Well, what are some known solutions to this unknown? One of them is go in and hit their nuclear site. Everything that's even connected to that, go in, blow them up. Israel did it once, we could probably do it again. We send some rockets, or we send some drones. Another would be to give another cyber attack. We didn't do it. The Israelis supposedly did this. We put in this Stuxnet. We went and ruined their machinery. So we could do another cyber attack. I imagine we had the capability, if we wanted, to take Iran and cut them right out of the whole world. Take down their internet, take down their phone system, everything. Paralyze them. It gets hot over there. And folks there now have air conditioners. And if the air conditioners stop, people get a little rowdy. So we can do that. Or we could just simply say we're going to get a satellite image of every single boat you have on the coast of the Gulf of Hormuz, and we are going to eliminate them. You will have no more Navy. Bye-bye. A little more dramatic, less dramatic is going to be, will my competitor raise their price and how much? So I have this unknown region, state of nature. I don't know what's going to happen. Now, if I have a known problem and I have a known solution, I'm in Fat City. I'm looking good. But here's where you're going to really get paid. This is the big bucks area, and I'll make a little dollar sign. The group of people or the companies who can deal with an unknown problem with a solution we haven't found. These people are generally called disruptors, and they change industries. Your job as a manager and a decision maker is simple. You want to move back the boundary of the unknown. You're too young to remember this, but at one point, AT&T was this behemoth company with all of these regional phone companies, and the people in Congress and the people in the FCC and the people in the United States Department of Justice and Treasury got all riled up and said, this company's too big, break them apart. We need more competition. So we broke them apart. And we were told, I remember sitting there listening to all these, reading the transcripts of all of these Senate committee hearings. When we break AT&T apart, the consumers will have a bonanza. Phone prices and the prices of phone service will drop dramatically. And it came true, didn't it? So that's where you paid to reduce that unknown. So we try to figure out some of these scenarios or these potential outcomes so we know, well, what could be really, really bad, what could be really, really good, or what's most likely to happen. That's why we use the tool. So the scenario, the goal seek is a nice little tool. There's another one called the scenario manager. Let's play with it for just a minute. Let me say this. You'll hear me say it many, many times. Being a business major makes you a highly courageous person because you're willing to go out and try to help somebody, or you're willing to go out and try to start an enterprise that creates value and wealth. Value meaning it improves people's lives. Wealth meaning people get paid, people get stock dividends, the price of their stock goes up. And the other value meaning people are treated well, society's doesn't get shanked in the process. You don't dump a bunch of dirty chemicals. Did you know we have a city in the United States where when they turn, pardon me, it's not here in the United States, we have a city and a country on planet Earth where when people turn on their tap, they get fish coming out of the tap, tiny little fish. Did you know we have places here in the United States where we've allowed companies to dump stuff that's so toxic that the cancer rate's about 10,000 times higher than it is anywhere else? What happened? What happened? So understanding the potential outcomes of our actions is quite important. And so we have a little tool there. We're going to look at it. It's called the scenario manager. So click on data. And we're going to look for what if analysis. You see it, the question mark? And we're going to click that, and we're going to click scenario manager. Now, goal seek's a cute little thing because, as you recall, I can set a goal, I can change a variable, I can set a goal and put an amount and try to change the variable and get what I'm after, right? Now, we've got the scenario manager. The other day we played around with this, and let's look at the base case there, and let's click on edit, and we'll see what's in there. And this is for each of these. Yeah, these were the markup amounts, the markup rate, excuse me. So we did a base case. Then we did worst case. My competitor decides they're going to go after me, and they have a lot of money, and they're going to get my market share. And so they're going to attack me, especially on my most profitable items. And then once they've priced me out of the market, they'll do what? Being the good people they are, they'll lower the price even more, right? No, they won't. They'll start raising the price. So I've got this worst case scenario. So click on it and click show. And this is where we assumed that we would have really bad markup rates. We'd have to change them dramatically to meet a competitive challenge. You see, I don't know if my competitor is going to increase their price on any of these items or decrease their price. I don't know. I better know. You see, I thought we were just going to do spreadsheets. What are you talking about? Well, these are tools to help me do some analysis to make decisions. And that's what you'll get paid to do. That's what they get paid to do. The college coaches drive me crazy. It's 4th and 1 at the goal line. Can someone tell me the percentage when someone goes on 4th down that they make it in the NCAA Division I? What's the rate? Obviously, one of those coaches who was at, I think, the 1 yard line on 4th and goal didn't have that analytic. And so not knowing that the odds are you're probably going to get that 4th down and score the touchdown, they did what? They kicked a field goal. After the game, there was a news conference and they asked the coach, he said, why did you kick the field goal? And his response was classic. He said, well, we had to score twice. After 7 points behind, how many times you got to score? Twice. You got to get the touchdown, right? And you got to kick the extra point, or you kick 2 field goals and then hopefully get a safety, because I don't know there's a 1-point play. You hope you get a safety, because then you get the ball back. You get 2 points to the ball back, and away you go. And score twice. The percentages were in that person's favor. The Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl. They threw the ball at the 3 yard line into a crowded line of linebackers, into a crowd of receivers and linebackers, and they were surprised that the pass wasn't complete for the game winner. Hello. Stupid, 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 stupid. And they get paid millions of dollars. And you know what's really aggravating? It doesn't matter how much I talk to that television, they're not listening to me. That's aggravating. It'll happen to you too. You'll be going, why did you do that? And then you ask them at the end, they'll go, oh, a perfectly good idea. I'm a baseball freak, so I really get incensed. What? He is, I know, he's a lifetime 200 hitter, but in the past 6 games, he's hitting 700. Let him hit the ball. That's a small sample size. My wife and I'll have those debates. You're a baseball freak, you're all the way in it. Numbers, the whole bit. Any baseball players here? All right. Am I true? Am I right or not? Oh yeah, it's stats, data, etc. Wow. Anyway, but I can see the worst case scenario. I could also build a best case scenario here if I care to. Huh? I got slightly amused. Well, not too amused. My wife and I are Cardinal fans, and the other night we were watching the ball game. I'm a Yankees fan too. Boo, hiss, I know, I understand. And one of the relievers, the analyst, the color guy, was talking about, you know, that if you're a pitcher, you're really concerned about your fingernails. They paint them white and stuff, or pink, or so that the catchers and the pitchers are very concerned about their fingernails because of the grip on the ball. And here's the guy in their bullpen, he's chewing on his fingernails. I figure he's worried he's going to get sent back to AAA. Or he's worried about something. And when they talk about things are stirring in the bullpen, are they out there making stew, or what do they mean? Baseball fans? Are there any Cub fans in here? Okay, get out of my classroom if you're here. I'm teasing. No. Yankee fans? Not a one. Cardinals? Okay, a bunch of Astro fans. Dodgers, Pirates, the Nats, the Fish, or the Marlins. Fish. What are you fan? The Rockies, the Red Sox. Oh, okay, I'm praying for you. That's okay. That's fine.
You're a Cardinals fan, right?
And a Yankee fan.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. I do have an attitude. All right. Well, has this been the most exciting hour or so you've spent in your entire life? That's a good answer. You'll go far. How many of you today nodded your head in agreement when I said, you understand that when you were thinking about something else? You're learning. You're learning how to be in a meeting and look like you're involved with a very obnoxious person. Hey. But it's a skill. And once you develop that skill, you'll be able to go on a sales call and look at someone and go in your mind, I really just do not like you. But you say, oh my gosh, thank you for another 10,000 units. Or a boss you work for that doesn't like you or you don't like them. You're learning. Well, it's Thursday. Anybody going out on a go trip? Are there any go trips going on this weekend? Any evangelistic crusades? Okay. If you meet me, I'll be over here. Meet me at the Rock Saturday night about 11 o'clock. I'm going to be going to the casino and be handing out Bible tracts. That's my people group. We may stop at the buffet if it's open. Those are my people group. My people group are high stakes international gamblers. I've asked for a car, an entourage, a couple $100 million. They need to hear the word too, don't they? And my heart is there for them. And nobody's listening. I can't get the plane. I can't get the money. I can't get an entourage. So I can go reach my people group. Now, what kind of people are we? We just said, well, let them all go to hell. Shame on us. So we've come to that point in time where you want to say this is number 3 if you haven't done that. And I ask you a very simple question, and do you know what it is? What is the question I ask you at this point in time? Why are you people still in my lab? Very good. Don't forget the Dean's house, 8 o'clock Saturday night. You know the special showing of Forrest Gump? He'll have all kinds of candy, steaks, and stuff. Ask him about it. Go to Sunday school, y'all. Y'all think y'all, I don't know if y'all are churchgoers now. I'm looking at a minute. Look at you. I'll be checking up. You better be in church Sunday morning. I'll be looking for you. I'm going to do a dorm check. I'm on the way. You don't believe me, do you? All right. God bless you all. Be careful. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, I didn't do that tomorrow.